say, Brother Crow, I remember what you said. I remember an illustration. I remember something you did, even though it's been many, many years. I've got a hum up here. I don't know if it's... Okay. And this morning is at a special request from someone who has remembered me doing it in days past. And so, if you want to blame anybody, blame my son-in-law. There was a wealthy, rich lady. She had everything she could ask for. The latest of clothes, a large account in investments. She had everything she could ask for. There wasn't a thing that came out that she didn't want, didn't have. One day she said to her chauffeur, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to have you get out the limousine and let's just take a ride around town and end up over in the slum area. I'd like to see how some of those poor old folks are doing. And they traveled from her ritzy part of town, around town through the medium area down to the slum area. And as they traveled, the streets got worse. They were bumpier, but the limousine was so well built and so new, I hardly knew there was a bump in the street. As they drove along, she spotted an old ditch digger, a ragged, dirty-faced man shoveling away in the mud, in a muddy ditch, apparently to connect to an old rundown shack where she guessed he probably lived. But he was singing so lustfully that she just wanted to know what he was singing. So she turned down her window, and she could very plainly hear the words of the song that he sang. The old ditch digger hardly noticed it. And as he belted out the words, my Father is rich in houses and lands. He holdeth the wealth of the world in his hands. By this time she'd gotten out of the car, out of the limo. She was standing on the edge of the street in awe of the old ditch digger. And the singing went on. The rubies and diamonds, the silver and gold, his coffers are filled. He has riches untold. I'm a child of the King, the child of the King, with Jesus my Savior. Oh, yes. I'm a child of the King. Oh, yes. She spoke up, she said, what? You a child of the King? Don't make me laugh. You can't be a child of the King. Well, you don't even look like a king's son. Look at those ragged trousers and those worn-out boots. Look at your rough, chapped hands. You can't be a child of the King and dress the way you are, doing the work that you're doing. A king's son would never be doing anything like that. My Father's own Son, the Savior of men, once wandered on earth as the poorest of men, but now he is reigning forever on high, and will give me a home, a mansion by and by. The rich lady looked beyond the old ditch digger. She noticed the old shack, run down, no screen door, cardboard over part of the windows where the glass had broken out. She said, mister, listen, you aren't a child of the King. Just look at that shack. If you were a child of the King, you'd live in a fine house, perhaps a palace. You'd have a beautiful, cultured lawn. There'd be beautiful fixtures there, perhaps some even sculptures. Well, you're just an old ditch digger, working away in a muddy ditch and trying to live out and eke out a living. But she was interrupted with, I once was an outcast, a stranger on earth, a sinner by choice and an alien by birth. But I've been adopted, my name's written down as an heir to a mansion, a robe and a crown. She interrupted the old ditch digger once again. He said, "You say your father's a king, and you live in that shack? Why, my dog's house is better than that, and if you were a child of the king, you'd have been some to the gala parties and to the affairs that we have. You couldn't possibly be a king's son. You're just an old ditch digger." But the old ditch digger just kept right on singing. "A tent or a cottage, why should I care? They're building a palace for me over there. Though exiled from home, yet still I can sing, all glory to God, I'm a child of the King."
Yes. Amen.
The wealthy lady, shaking her head, not knowing really what to say, got back into her limo. And as I started driving away, she said, "I just can't see how anyone can claim so much and yet have so little." The old ditch digger leaned on his shovel, shook his head, and said, "You know, I really don't see how anyone can claim so much and yet have nothing." And he broke out singing, "I'm a child of the King.
Amen.
I'm a child of the King."
Oh, yes. With Jesus, my Savior, I'm a child of the King.
Amen.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Brother Crowell. That was great. That's super.
Yes.